Good morning, everyone. My big apologies for the delay of starting. I'm very sorry. I apologize for that. I was just trying to fix a few things on my laptop that was disturbing with the Zoom recording. So anyway, welcome to today's analysis. Welcome. I see all of you are here ready for the analysis. So allow me not to waste time because some time has already passed. Let's get straight into the chart, see what we're looking at and what we expect. So yesterday we saw some markets really drop. Most of the dollar markets, we saw gold had a very strong drop yesterday. We're seeing Dow Jones through and the other most of the dollar pairs, GU, Aussie dollar. So let me share my screen, as well as the crypto markets. So yesterday was quite a strong day for the dollar. Crypto market also, we saw yesterday market fall 20% corrections. If you see such a thing like that on stock markets, that's a very huge drop, considered more or less a crash happening. But if you see a 20% drop on cryptocurrencies, that's more or less just a normal phase happening. Okay, so just to look at what is happening on my side, let's start with Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar, we had a third trend line bounce. Market was really, well, let's start with the dollar so that we can have the general view and then we can see what's moving forward. So I was really expecting market to come to this correction phase. Okay, so so you see this formation over here. Of course, when you see such, this is a market structure forming, quite good, quite simple, a good market structure forming. What normally happened, as I said, look, long term, I have this sort of trend, okay? This long term, bigger picture. Long term, we've been having this downtrend, lower lows, lower highs, but I have also to pay attention to what structure market is forming currently, okay? So what has been forming, if you look at the past few days, past few weeks, has been basically, I hope you can all hear me, hope I'm loud and clear. Cool. What has been basically happening is what the structure market has been forming over here is more or less high highs and higher lows formation. And if you take this structure and draw a line, you can get to see what really helped the market. Okay. So if you look at that market structure, we can see how market has been respecting both the upper boundaries of this pattern and the lower boundaries. That's what we got yesterday, basically the better part of this week. Monday, Tuesday has been very bullish. We haven't seen any red close during this week, okay? So what am I looking for? You see this resistance level that market was able to break after we had a breakout to the upside, that push to the upside. I'm looking to see this breakout retest, which already happened. Let's look at the 4-hour chart. You see this breakout that we had, and I remember I covered this on Monday, okay? Straight. I remember I covered this on Monday. This was a clear breakout to the upside, a break back down, correction within this space, and then market started moving back down. I remember I was talking about targets being looked for at this level, okay? This support level, which was basically a trend line. You can see that first touch, second touch, third touch. Look at these rejections that market has had. If you normally do a lot of price action analysis, this was a simple analysis. You can see that first touch, market went up, got a quick rejection in the form of a doji, okay, and market has been rallying further up. I expect market at least to return back to these levels, okay, where the resistance is, okay, where we had broken, and then we can know from there what will we be expecting. We'll be watching to see what market will do, whether we'll have a breakout. I'm more or less waiting to see if maybe we can have a rejection of this level and market to move further down. But I'm really open-minded to it. I'll be seeing if market breaks to the upside, what else will we be expecting, okay? Because remember what I'm talking about on the daily chart. Do not ignore the patterns that has been forming. Market has simply been forming higher highs and higher lows in the recent few weeks, okay? Not in the long term, in the recent few weeks. This is what we're saying, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Market came and created a higher low. So unless we start breaking below these previous higher lows, market will be continuing in the downtrend. But as long as we remain above it, we can see market pushing back to this level, okay? So with that said, now what am I looking at on the other pairs? Aussie dollar really had a rally in the past 2 weeks, but this week we've been seeing a lot of bearish momentum coming in, okay? I think I'll explain it on the 4-hour chart, much more simple, okay? So ever since we got this downward channel formation. You can see it's simple. You can see that first touch, second touch, third touch. Then market started rallying back up. That was a good correction that market had. If you had a short, this was a good level to take profits. If you had a buy, I was looking for these levels as the best level to take profits, okay? So you never want to hold markets until where it's going to turn. You should be having profit targets. So why did I have this level? This was a resistance level, okay? You can see before acted as support, got a breakout, and then came and acted as resistance. So get to look at my simple approach to the markets, nothing complicated, just looking at market structure, areas of key levels, okay, where the supply and demand, and looking to see what market structure is forming and how to time the markets. Now, if you try and zoom it out, getting to see the rejection that's happening, you can see this clear analysis, first touch, second touch, and we've gotten a clear third touch over here. Double rejection was done yesterday, so more or less a double top, okay, at this resistance level. You can see that shooting star formation. What does that imply? A very strong sell indication, which was in line with what we were seeing on the dollar. So the dollar is rising and the Aussie dollar is weakening. So that was a good pattern that was forming, and a good indication that the shorts were coming in. And if you're to take profits, so sorry about this. I don't know who's messing with the screen. Tends to happen a lot. So let me just, sorry about that. Sorry about that. So please pay attention, guys. Whoever is doing that, slowing us down. So there we go, guys. Sorry about that. So yeah, so that's what I'm looking at Aussie dollar. We've come back below this resistance level, a good pattern that can form, because this market can continue dropping as long as the dollar is rising up to that level I've talked about. We can see a retest of this level, which can offer another better short formation or a better short trade to be taken to come back down. As long as we remain below this trend line, that third trend line bounce, as long as this resistance level, it's best to be looking for shorts on this pair. The past 2 weeks have been very bullish with no significant correction. So more or less I was expecting some correction to come through around this week. So without wasting time, what I'll look at next, gold, a structure that formed on gold. We had a good wedge formation that market formed, which was in line with the resistance level, and market got some drop yesterday. So yesterday we saw a massive drop. Let's look at the 1-day chart, just looking at that formation. So you can see this resistance level. So I had sort of this pattern formation, okay, which is basically a flag. And then market came and got this resistance. So you're seeing this massive resistance has been acting as a lot of take profit levels for most people. You can see this first rejection, second, third, now we've gotten a fourth one, okay? And if we go to the forward chart, as we approach that level, and I keep saying this, it always matters how we are approaching the level, what pattern is forming. Such a pattern is an indication that momentum was slowing down to the upside and there was no much momentum. If the market came strongly without any significant correction, then there would be a very high likelihood that this level would be broken. But the fact that we're coming within this sort of channel, wedge-like formation, was a good indication that we can get some resistance here. That's exactly what we got. And basically what we're saying, you're seeing this ranging level. This ranging level we had here previously is the same ranging level market has dropped back to, which is around the 1795 level. Between 1795 and 1790, well, 92, is where market is getting some resistance. So the question is, can we break back below this level, or will the market hold? Okay, so I'm here to look at that, see different market structures on that. But this was a good short level for people who trade within ranging markets. I'm sure most of the people have taken profits here, and that's why you can see quite some resistance happening on that. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at on gold. I don't have any forecasts to say really. I'm still analyzing. And like what I have on Aussie dollar, though, I'm still looking for more shorts to come in. On gold, I'm still yet to analyze and see what market structure is forming. But yesterday, you can see that massive drop that wiped out the past few, I think 5 or 6 days of data in just one day. So pay attention to that. Dow Jones, I think Dow Jones will offer a very good trade coming in the next few weeks. If you look at the daily charts, we're breaking some pattern that I had to the upside, okay? So let's zoom this out and look at the long-term picture. So market has been within this structure And I've been looking for this third trend line bounce for a long time, okay? So if I just use this as my first support, okay? The first trend line was broken. So I had a trend here, touching here. That one was broken. And now I got this out on more or less a channel with the upper side, okay? Looking at that resistance to the upper side. So if you look at this first touch, second touch, if this market can, you can see this, let me zoom it in. The market, I was expecting new highs to be formed, especially that Nasdaq and the other indexes were forming new highs. I was expecting some new highs on this one, but got some resistance. You can see this, there was a whole week market did not even break to the upside. It was a lot of sideways movement over here, okay? Within the structures, looking to see if market can maintain this structure and maybe get some targets to this upside. And if I look at the 1 day, if I look at the 4-hour chart, if I look at the 4-hour chart, this is the pattern we were seeing, a lot of resistance in the form of an ascending triangle. So if you look at market structures, that was what was forming a lot of sideways movement yesterday, and we saw a huge break over here, and market today morning has continued with that fall to the side. So I'm waiting to see if maybe you can get a flat formation over here, an ABC correction in line with this trend line, okay? In line for market to come back to this trend line. But one thing I'll say for sure, let's wait and see the daily close and see if we get a break below this level. I never like to make a lot of assumptions that I know what is going to happen. This is going to close bearish. Wait for that close. If you close below it with a lot of bearish momentum, I'll be expecting more momentum to the downside. Sometimes you can see such a formation early in the morning, and New York is some push to the upside forming a pin bar, which can change the whole narrative of what we're looking at. So pay attention to that. But if not, if market continues dropping, I'll be looking for this market structure. Personally, I'm seeing a good market structure forming to continue to the downside for some time. And then long term, I expect some bullish momentum to come in. But once we come to these lower support levels within the market structure that I'm watching, okay? So I think I'll end it there. We don't have much time. I'll just leave the floor to Ken maybe to do for you a few things that he has. And then, of course, I'll upload this on YouTube later on in the day, and we'll see you on the next analysis on Friday. So that's it from my side, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Hi guys, hope you're having a wonderful time, enjoying and looking at trading, looking at the markets. So on my end, I have a couple of setups, beautiful setups. I hold a very different view from what many people do on what is currently happening in the markets. I think going into this third quarter, I'm heavily short on some of the markets that I personally trade. I think we've seen a lot of dumb money coming to the markets. We've seen some extrapolated, very long bullish moves. And once that happens, we're bound to see some profit taking, some short selling coming into the market, and some corrections for at least the professional side to get some edge into the market. So the Dow yesterday was down about 1%. I hold that we could see some moves to the downside. I'll share with you why I think that will happen. The pound is also down significantly lower. I think the dollar has been moving higher. So I have a couple of things that I'm watching. On gold, I really don't have that clear validation on the direction of the market. And so I'll avoid that market for now. It's been checking out my expectations. And once that's the case, I don't like trading on hoping. I like trading where I have conviction or where I understand what's really happening. And I think right now what I understand is what's happening on the Dow, Nasdaq, and I think the pound pairs. I think on one, you could also see a move to the downside. I show what I have on those, I think 4 markets, and then I'll stop there. So I'll first start off with Nasdaq. So if I just open the Nasdaq, this market has been moving higher for a very, very long time. Any person who's been trying to catch a top on this market, obviously you've lost a lot of money. I'm sure by now you don't have any guns remaining, both psychologically and financially, for you to keep on trying to get the top. However, there's always a top in every market. Not a top in the form of a change in the direction, but probably even the start of a correction. So if I just look at the Nasdaq, all the way from last year, November 2020, we've been in a strong bull move. I think for the last, whole year, we've seen just strong bull market, not much momentum to the downside. And finally, we have gotten to the 15,500 level. So what do I hold? I think we could see a correction, a steep correction, I think, back to about 13,000, 13,100. That's a long move. I know there's a very high chance I could be wrong, but I think that's what could happen in this market from a big picture perspective, probably towards the end of the third quarter. I still don't have any fundamentals to pinpoint to that steep collapse, but I think technically that collapse is there, and I'd follow the technicals over the fundamentals any day. As long as I have my stops, I will always try to bet on some ideas. Anyway, looking at it from a daily chart perspective, I think I'm expecting a short collapse back to about 14,300, which is the first target from the daily chart. So if these markets can hold below the 16,000 level, I wouldn't be surprised by a move to the upside at least to 16,000. But from the 16,000 level, I think there is a high chance we'll see about a 2,000 point collapse. That's a big percentage, about 10-15% correction before continuation to the upside. We've gone up almost 100% without any significant correction. Back from trading about 7,000, now we're trading at about 16,000. So that's a big move. If I just sync to the 4-hour chart to look at what is happening there, in the 4-hour chart, there's this beautiful setup. So my style of trading is quite different, and we have a long-term perspective on where I think markets will go, but I'll trade on the short term, so I'll keep on coming in and out as setups are forming in the direction of the markets that I'm anticipating. So currently, I'm watching the Nasdaq for potential collapse back down to about 15,000, which is my first target. So that's about 600 points from where we're currently trading. But before 15,000, I'll also be very keen on 15,300. I think that's a better target for your first trade. So the first shot that I'll have, I'll exit at 15,300, watch the behavior of price action, then probably look for another collapse back to 15,000. If I just look at it from an hourly perspective, you can see clearly there was this beautiful trend line that I was waiting for a break. We finally gotten a break. I think this was a very good short position. Now we are heading towards 15,500. I still think the risk reward on this trade is quite good. So if I just execute upon that break and look for 15,300 with my stops coming in at the 15,700, I have a risk reward of about 1:4, and I have a very high chance of being right, especially if we can get a retest and I execute upon the retest. But I'll just jump into it right now because I'm not sure whether we'll get the retest. So I'll go into it right now and expect this move back lower to this level. So that's the first trade that I'll share with you. Next, I look at the Dow. I think the Dow has, the reason I'm actually very short is the momentum on the Dow. It points to me that we can see some steep collapses on the Nasdaq. I think there's a high chance that will happen. So on the Dow, I have this beautiful, again, channel. So first bounce, second bounce. I'm waiting for potential third bounce at about 33,000, which is the next critical level for me. But before 33,000, what are some of the levels I'm watching? 34,000 is very important. So we've just gotten a break of 35,000. And if you study the market, just look at what has been happening. I think for the first time over a very long period, we have finally gotten a lower high instead of a new higher high. And if that's the case, then you can see this is just basic technical analysis, a drop or correction to 88 retracement, and you could see a collapse back down to 34,250, 34,000 level. If the move is overextend in 4-hour chart, this is the pattern. So let me just remove this essentially from the daily chart. So on the 4-hour chart, we finally gotten a break out of this beautiful formation. So first bounce, second bounce. We were waiting for potential third bounce. I was actually bullish before that. But after this breakout, I'm very bearish. I'm waiting for this market to come back at least for a retest at the 35,000 level, which I think will, and then I'll be short all the way to about 34,300 with my stops coming in just above the 35,000, probably 35,250. A risk reward of again about 1:5 on this market. So that's my outlook on the Dow. Next, I look at oil. I think oil is quite interesting also. If you just look at oil on the daily chart, this is what we have. So we've gotten the first bounce, second bounce, third bounce, which means there's a potential sell to the downside. So we could see a collapse back down to $60 a barrel. But in the 4-hour chart, I want a collapse below the 68.5 level, 67.5 level for confirmation. But currently, I'm riding this trade. I'm looking for this pattern to complete. I know there's a high chance this market will come back to $60 a barrel. If you just go down to the hourly time frame, you can find better entries for you to keep on playing this market. So depending on how the market is moving, we'll again try and find potential ends to the down. So if we draw this, discover that yes, we're finally taking this out, but I want to take out of 69.5 for me to at least change to bullish. Currently, I'm still bearish on this one, based on the 4-hour chart and the daily chart. On gold, let's just look at gold. I think gold is quite interesting. So this is gold on the daily chart. Let me just look at gold on the daily chart. Yeah. So this is gold on the daily chart. For me, this was a basic move, impulse, correction, impulse. So I was waiting for another move to the upside. You can see it's like the downside with momentum that they've been pointing. But you could see a move to the downside. So first target was 1800. If I just go down to the 4-hour chart, instead the markets are struggling to go below the 1800. It looks like we are finding support at that level. I think we could see a breakout of this and a rally to 1775. So I'm not sure it will happen at 1775. If it move back above 1800, there's some momentum above 1810. And probably it will come back along looking for higher levels. But for now, I'm just watching what will happen towards the New York session for me to know how to position myself in some of these ideas that I have. So I've still not executed most of the ideas I have. I'm waiting for clear signal or clear patterns on the market to position myself accurately in some of this market. That is my outlook. That's the bias that I'm holding towards fourth quarter, the last quarter of the year. So I think I'll stop there. I don't think we have anything else to say. So we'll see you guys on the next video, which will be on Friday. We have now launched our Discord group, so you can join the Discord group. We'll be sharing with you the insights you have there. So like for me, I'll share all the trades I have, the entries I'll take, and the exits on the Discord group. So Caleb will drop the links, I think, on YouTube. You can find them on YouTube. Or if you're in any of our WhatsApp group, you can also find the link there, and you can also share with other traders. So we'll see you guys on Friday. Peace.